Live here, season 2, episode 4. Last week was a little bit different. James had a prior commitment, hanging out with some sports celebrities. Tell us about that, James. What is it? Looks like it's an event you go to every year.
Yeah, so it's an annual event here held in St. Thomas. It's the St. Thomas Sports Spectacular. It helps Special Olympic athletes in our area. So I'd been going to that show since I was 16 years old. So I
Right.
used to go with my dad, and then when I actually graduated high school, they used to give out a sports award for male athlete of the year in the city and stuff, and I won the award. And I've always kind of helped out with it. Sometimes I help with booking. They always bring in a pro wrestler to the event, so sometimes I'd help out with booking talent for them, or I do a lot of other sporting events outside of cornhole throughout the year,
Yeah.
card shows and whatever else, and I kind of collect memorabilia and stuff for an auction. But it's a great event. My city's only 45,000 people, and they pack it every year with about 600 people that pay for dinner, and they do a silent auction. And the sports tables are like the celebrity tables are always a pretty good list of talent. Like we had Adam Oates, NHL Hall of Famer. We had Brad May, Thurman Thomas from the Buffalo Bills, who's in the
Yeah.
NFL Hall of Fame. A couple Olympic athletes that won gold in the last Summer Olympics. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Brandon Rodney, I think he ran in the 4x100. We
Okay.
had a
Yeah. Yeah.
rower, Terry Ryan from Shorzy. And then Scott Steiner was the wrestler. So I had worked with Scott before and traveled around with him a little bit. So it was good to see him. But it's a great event, and I've gone now, like, I don't know, I'm gonna be 39 next month. So enough
20
years in
plus
a row.
years.
But it's a great
Yeah.
event. I love it. So it's fun.
Yeah. That's cool. And cool with Terry Ryan. Just
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Sudbury. Shorzy is. I mean, after I watched the first season of Shorzy, it was almost there was a subtle love story to Sudbury woven into the into the story as well, right? It was definitely pro Sudbury. I mean, they didn't try to pretend they were somewhere else. They went to
Yeah.
local restaurants. They talked about local stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I talked to him about he's from St. John's, obviously, and
Yeah.
I talked to him about playing cornhole out there and just some of his favorite spots. And like had some stuff in common about where we like to go. He definitely liked the little grimy fish and chips Chester's there, and he mentioned the Duke, and then Signal Hill and Topsoil Beach and all that. It was a good conversation. It was fun. He's a good dude.
That's pretty fun. Yeah, and the guys that have met him from Sudbury that I've talked to, I have a buddy who works on the show, and he says the same thing. Just like a super awesome guy.
Yeah, pretty funny. I don't know. It's the event's held inside of like a church style building. I
Right.
mean, it's St. Anne's Center. It's a him telling some of his stories. Maybe not the best, but man,
Sacrilegious.
it was entertaining. He was
Yeah, I
great.
bet.
He was a
Oh,
great
I bet.
storyteller. His dad too is really good at telling stories. So I was telling him I was that I played for St. John's in pro cornhole. I try to get a little something going, but I couldn't get back to him. But maybe when I get out there, I'll be able to get in contact with him and get something happening.
You know what? I There was a CBC story about somebody calling their house. I wish I remember who it was to talk to Terry Ryan's dad one time. And then they ended up going over there and drinking and just telling stories. And they were saying the
Yeah,
same thing about how his dad's just a great storyteller
yeah,
as well. And they just like told stories like all night, and before you even knew it, it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
yeah. Like normally, each speaker at this event kind of gets like 3 or 4 minutes, and they get a couple questions, and they have the main speaker, and they use Terry as the main speaker, and he went all through his career, and then into filming Shorzy and some of the other stuff. He had been in Frontier and stuff like that with Jason Momoa and stuff like that. But some of the hockey stories, like, I don't know, it's a different time. Some of them you can't really tell like in the same vein as you used to tell them. It's those things aren't allowed anymore. But he was a great storyteller. It was fun. He's
Yeah,
a
and
good dude.
he got to play a game last year, with the Newfoundland Growlers
Yeah,
before they
yeah,
that was pretty cool.
yeah. It was good.
I guess we should dive into some cornhole. So last week when you were out partying with Terry Ryan and Scott Steiner, I was stumbling stumbling along here by myself. And so a couple people had asked just to go over the point system as well. I just kind of broke it down simplest as I could. And then last week, ACL Canada released the path to becoming a pro for next season, which has stayed the same generally. I mean, a couple of big takeaways are there's no longer pro qualifiers at conference championship events, so that's gone.
And that's simply because of the elimination of not every place has to run a top 64, top 100, whatever. So that
Yeah,
event doesn't have to
exactly.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just on the local organizations, right? If they want to try to
Yep.
promote something extra. So right now, I think we have two of our provinces have committed to something extra. Ontario is doing a top 64, and then Quebec is sticking with the top 100 model.
Perfect.
And then, so kind of something that replaced that a bit is the top 2 in provincial standings. So provincial standings count everything except for the open. So if you're not a guy that's going to go to any opens, you still have a shot at becoming a pro if you can play well at the provincial and your local nights and your regionals.
Right. I think going that way should open up a few more spots for some people outside of Ontario, like we've talked about before many times.
Yeah.
It's still kind of, I mean, we're still pretty heavy-handed in Ontario with the pros.
Yeah.
So give some players outside of the province here to open up and have a chance to get their pro card for next season.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of good players, obviously, in the other provinces, and I mean, even there's a lot of good players that we haven't seen at our events out of Saskatchewan. I mean, we had Glenn and Presley went to that regional in Calgary, and both played incredible. I actually sent Presley a Team Canada Throws jersey this week. We love supporting the junior players, right? We donated a couple to John in Delhi as well.
Nice.
I donated one to the winner of the juniors at provincial, so I have Nico's for him. I'll see him in Drummondville. But that's where I'd rather spend our, like, the Canada Throws money and support the juniors. So I sent her one. So we'll have some more Canada Throws in Saskatchewan.
Nice.
But I know there's a lot of good players there. There was one of the kids from out there won singles in the CCL Nationals last year, beating Glenn, who's someone that we know in Ontario as one of the top 2-3 players here. So I mean, I'm hoping to see more of those guys at the ACL events in the future, and time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, and I think opening it up for the pro spots going that way. I mean, there may be some people sneak in that maybe people aren't familiar with at some of the big events, but still very good players like you just mentioned. So I think it's a great way to open up Canada even further and expand that pro field.
Yeah, because we have the 2 BC boys now, but we could easily have 2 new players from BC enter the pro field next year. We have 3 from Alberta now. We could see a couple more from Alberta. I did a post right around Christmas time, and it was I put the top person from each province in the post, and I believe 2 were current pros. Steve James, and then only one, Steve James. And then we had Jeff Walsh in Newfoundland, who was the top in his provincial points. And we had Bruce Christensen. I forget who I had in Alberta. And then Quebec was Sylvain Ouellette. But yeah, 4 of the 5. So I mean, if those 4 guys keep chugging along, like if Geoff has an incredible season provincially and keeps grinding it out, he could very well earn his pro spot that way.
So those pro spots would be dictated before any of these guys have to play the qualifier in Ottawa? Because Ottawa runs as provincial as the point system closes, right? So that would be hard to decipher.
I'm imagining on the Saturday night that Matt will be busy.
Yeah, it's some serious work to do there. Yeah,
he will have some work to do, right? I mean, there'll be some that are easy, but other ones, the provincial ones will be fine because they'll know already because the open points don't count towards that. I mean, so
is the Nationals going to count as an open?
The Nationals count as an open.
Oh, okay.
So they'll count towards those open points. So the only thing, okay, so say I mean, and I don't think this would happen because at this point of the season, good players are going to have all 12 of their local points. But what if, say, Jeff Walsh had, you know, one less point than Doreen Pond? She was in first place. Jeff Walsh had one less point, but he managed to get a 50-pointer in a local event in Ottawa, which would bring him past that provincially, right?
Yeah.
There's
I think
that's
it's going to come down to the wire everywhere. I think the points race across the whole country is going to be tight. In your areas, it's going to be tight. Just across the board, I think it's much different. It looks much different and feels much different this year than it had previously.
I find it a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, way more people involved.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like honestly, I'm trying to make a push to become a pro next year, and every event is super important. Like I've had a good start to my regional season. I feel a couple of third places, a fourth place in singles, a couple of doubles wins. So my regional points so far are good, but it's the provincial points I need to get up there, and then I need a tier 1 open doubles, which Judy and I are going to try our best for
There
next
you go.
weekend. But I mean, it's tough, right? And I'm
Yeah.
lucky enough that I qualified to be in the pro field in Calgary, so I have that elite status for the pro qualification. So it gives me a bump up on players that don't have that.
This gives you a couple different avenues to get in, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's exciting, and you look down the list, and it's like it's anyone's game, and we're what 4 months into the season, so we're not even halfway through.
Yep. Yep.
But I mean,
No, it's going to be a tight race.
Does tend to slow down a bit come June, July. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think kind of once you get past Easter, like kind of starts to slow a bit.
Yeah, and even my regionals, I'm gonna run one in April in Sudbury, and that'll be my last main one. And then the league that I'm the director of in Blind River, which is a very town of 4,000 people, halfway in between Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie. They've got a great league. They play twice a week, and they come and support me at my event. So I'm going to run a small regional there. I know I'm going to do that in May. I'll definitely get some players from the Sioux and Sudbury. It's only an hour and a half, right? So
right, nice.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just I think that the pro field next year will be probably the best pro field we've ever had, and I'm just saying that because it's been that way every season. Every season it gets a little bit better, it gets a little bit tougher, and as more players are coming along, it's just going to get better and tougher and better and tougher, right?
Yeah, like we've said before, like we're still in such a growth period here in Canada. There's probably a really, really good chance that we haven't even seen the best player in Canada yet.
That's right.
The best player in Canada may have not even picked up a cornhole bag yet.
That's
so
right.
We're still growing. And with the growth, is just going to come a higher end for players. When I first started playing, you could play open singles and throw sevens and win games. Now you're throwing sevens and your game's over in 6 ends.
That's right.
So the growth at the top end is definitely there. And as we go along, the players are only going to get better. So it's going to get tough. It's going to be harder and harder each season to qualify into that pro field. But it's exciting. It's exciting to watch. I was on the opposite end of it too, like where you're at here, trying to chase to get in at one point. So, yeah, all those points matter, every single one.
Yeah, and I don't live close enough to anywhere where I mean I definitely want it, and I'm definitely going hard, but I'm not going to travel 6 hours on a Saturday to a random regional to try to chase those points, right? I'm going to run my regionals, and they're well attended, strong regionals, and then I'm going to, maybe go to the odd one outside of mine, and that's really about it. Because I mean, there's enough travel from being up here anyhow. Last year was a little bit different because I could hit the Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan ones, and because we were on the same point system, so it made sense that way. This year, definitely, I'm going to go. The local director up there, Marcus Galladay Jr. He's 18-year-old kid, but he graduates high school this year, so it's his last year, and he's going off to college. So they're having a big going away party for him on his last regional there on June the 8th. So I'll definitely go for that. I mean,
Nice.
it's not all about the points. Try to get a good group of guys. I mean, he
Yeah.
supports us like crazy. He came to Sudbury to play, which was super fun.
No, that sounds like it'd be a good idea to go attend that one. So
Oh yeah, no, he's a good guy. Yeah, so I think next year the plan is. I mean, it was the same as this year, right? We had 48 spots. So Matt offered contracts to 48. He offered the 48 contracts. Some were declined. Players retired. Players started focusing on other things. Players, for whatever reason, the travel, like we've talked about, it's expensive and it's hard. Day jobs don't give you unlimited time off. So I think that's the same plan this year. Give that minimum 48 contracts. But I would love to see a full 48 player pro field next year with, you know, 4 from BC and maybe 5, 6 from Alberta. Really, really diversified pro field.
yeah, I think it would be hard to get 48 of 48.
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah, but I mean that's why it says offer a minimum of 48 contracts. So I mean, if you had someone decline, you can offer more, but I mean last year Matt stopped because it was to the point where you're so far down the list, does it even make sense to keep offering pro spots, right?
yeah, I think just in general speaking, I think having 48 pros definitely makes the tournaments and the brackets and all those sort of things a little smoother. It's not a perfect bracket, but it's a bracket and a half.
Yeah.
Makes the games and the brackets play a little smoother, not so many buys and this and that. We also have to keep in mind that there's always going to be a chance for qualifiers to play
Okay.
in. So having a couple guys decline opens up a couple extra spots in qualifiers and stuff for non-pro players to get into the field as well. So again, I don't think it's a perfect system. It's a system that we're working on. It's a system that I think is working pretty well so far
Yeah,
this
it is.
year with having the qualifiers play in and giving a bunch of guys a crack to get in there and play the pro field and give them a little bit of a taste of what that's all about. So I think the format right now running is good. And like we talked about earlier when we first started the podcast here tonight, I like the introducing of the 2 provincial points and getting a little bit different, pulling players from a little bit different areas too, not
That's right.
just so heavily Ontario based.
Yeah, no, I love that. And yeah, having the qualifier, I mean, we've had that since the inception of the pro division, and it's fantastic, right? I mean, it's a grind, and to qualify as from those top 4 to top 6 players to get into the bracket, and then have to work your way through the bracket as well. I mean, it's super exciting, and I mean, a 6-game rounders where you have to go pretty much 5-1 to get in.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of room for error.
and realistically too, the format that we run at Opens and now with having the national event every year, everyone has a chance to participate and have a crack at being a pro.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily all have to be point based. The requalification, I mean, there has to be a system so they use points. That's what everyone plays for and is given. So that makes the most sense. But
Yeah.
anybody can sign up to play a pro qualifier at any of the opens.
Yeah, you have
Anybody
to have
can show up to nationals in Ottawa and play in the pro qualifier. So anybody, any skill level, always has a crack to try to get into this field. Whereas before, I think when it first started, it was heavily based off points, and points were kind of the only thing used to
right.
kickstart the program. But we had to start somewhere, and that was probably the best way to start it.
That's
but
right.
now anybody has a chance. So there's if you're a player out there, there's ways to get in. I mean, you just gotta you gotta get into the events and play them. I mean, there's no reason to sit there and say, well, I never had a chance. No, everybody has a chance. everybody has a chance to get in and get a little piece of the action on the pro field.
And really, a great example of that, Rammer, is Sam Bebo last season. He didn't play a lot of ACL events last season. He went to Drummondville, and that was about it. He went to nationals, participated in the pro qualifier, and qualified. Right.
Yeah,
This and
exactly.
yeah, I mean that is the number one example. If players in Saskatchewan are thinking about, perhaps wanting to give it a crack, that's come to Ottawa in July, participate in the pro qualifier. There's good players there. I know they could make it through the bracket, the gauntlet, and then the bracket be top four. So
And just like anyone else, I mean, if you're not the pro players are kind of, I'm not sure the right wording, but we kind of have to play at the Opens to play into the pro events. All the pro events take place at the Open. So we're forced isn't the right word, but we're kind of, you got to go up to the Open events to play your pro events.
Yeah,
But
it's part of the deal.
yeah, but anybody, you could live in BC and come to Niagara and play. You could have lived in Nova Scotia and went to Calgary and played. Any of it,
That's
the
right.
Opens are open to any player across Canada, and any player in the world can actually come play
Yes.
an Open. So you would have any opportunity to go play, no matter where you lived, to play those events. And it's not solely Ontario based. I think so far what we've seen is that the Ontario players are the players most willing to travel. So they're getting the cracks, the extra cracks in some of these pro events. But anybody can travel and play in an Open, and anybody can play in that pro qualifier and have a chance to get in.
That's right. Moondog actually has a question for you.
Moondog. Okay, here we go.
He says, as a pro, what would one have to start to maybe he said, when would one have to start to practice to seize the chance in Ottawa? Maybe Moondog's thinking of a comeback.
Ooh, I don't know.
I think maybe he should have already started.
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, Mike doesn't play a whole lot anymore, and he played the pro qualifier in Niagara, and he was 3-0 right off the hop.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. You just got to be good for a short period of time, right?
Yeah.
Be good for a couple hours, and you might get your crack right there, just like that.
Yeah, I thought he was like, oh shit, I'm gonna qualify. I've got. He was just really playing it to play, and like to participate because he was there for the CCF stuff. But he had a Christmas party the next day, so there wasn't a chance. And he was sitting 3-0, and he was like, oh. But
Nice.
I think he went back down to reality after that.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, no, I think this season has been fantastic so far. We got Open number 3 a week away. And so, that'll put us more than halfway through the season. So another thing I should mention is, as the commissioner of ACL Canada teams, the trade deadline is next Sunday, February the 9th. I predict we will see 0 trades.
Week.
Yeah, I know you were trying to drum something up in Calgary, and the chat has been very limited since then. But
yeah, I was trying to spin it up, but couldn't get nothing going there. Yeah. So
all the teams posted their schedules for next week. That'll go live 7:30 p.m. on ACL Canada Facebook. The teams event, which is a lot of people's favorite event of the weekend.
It's fun. Yeah, it's laid back. For a pro event, it's laid back. You get to play in doubles. You get to play sometimes with people you don't normally play with.
Yeah.
And you're cheering along as a team. I think always at the Opens, those team events or crew cup events and those style events are always, for the most part, a lot of people have a lot of fun playing that style events, and that's came right over into our program with into the pro program here with the pro teams events. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love watching it, and I mean, I love participating in the teams events at other events, right? Provincials, we had the teams event. In past conference events, we've had the crew cups, and those are really the most fun events of the weekend. They're just a great laugh, right?
Right. Yeah, they're fun.
Oh yeah, no, I love watching you guys. There's tons of chirping, great gameplay too. I know the finals last year in Ottawa was awesome between you guys and Montreal.
Yeah.
Considering you guys were sitting in last place going into the playoffs and made it to the finals. There, it was
Knocked
working.
off Toronto.
Yeah, you did.
Knocked them off. Yeah. Got ourselves some cash there. So
Yeah,
it's good.
Barrett says he knows that you want to be back on the Chargers. Well, then trade for him, Derek. God.
I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe anywhere but there.
because they didn't take it. Yeah, the no movement clause might come into effect.
Yeah. I'll have to talk to Dion. I think or Sean, the GM, and let him know that's a no go for me.
It's a no go. Yeah. If they can deal you someplace closer to home, maybe I'll go.
Yeah,
But I'm
maybe.
not
Yeah,
going back
sure.
out west.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Awesome. So let's break down this open. We have 8 days away from the start of it. I've gotten a bunch of the players list. I know more teams and more players have signed up since it got sent to me, but I'm not bugging Matt every day for the list, so we'll have to go with what we got. We'll start with the Friday events, and we'll start with the juniors. There's only 4 juniors signed up. When we started, I know we'll get more. Nicholas Gilbert, who won at the provincials here in Ontario, wasn't signed up yet. I know he's going. There's a lot of good players on that list. Matty Shea won intermediate singles. Ludovic Dag is no joke. I mean, really, if I was to guess, that event's going to be won by Ludovic or Nicholas with the current roster.
Yeah, that's where I'm probably leaning to. I think with the junior program, one thing you can say is that that like we're just talking about with the pro qualifiers and stuff, they just got to get hot for a short period of time. Someone can throw 3, 4, 5 games in that high 7, 8+ range. They could find themselves as the winner of that tournament. So, I think it's open to anybody really has a crack at it, because a smaller grouping, you just got to be really good for a few games. But I do agree that I think Nicholas and Ludovic would probably be the favorites right now going into it.
And I know that Maddie can knock off any. She had Cannington had a midweek regional on Tuesday, and she played Geoff Desjardins in the loser side, and it was about a 17-round battle. Geoff threw an 8.86 to Maddie's 8.56. I mean, just fantastic numbers coming out of the juniors, right? So
Yeah.
definitely, if she has games like that, like you said, you can get real good for a short period of time, and she could definitely take it down as well.
Yeah, the juniors is always interesting and fun to watch. Hopefully that program continues to grow. Coming back here to Quebec after seeing it in Niagara Falls and then at our provincial here. Hopefully they get us a few more youngsters out there, and it's a good showing for the junior program.
Yeah, because last year Jude and I were there. I forget how many they had last year, but we had more from Ontario. Like Jude, Lincoln, and Gage McMillan were all there, as well as Ella Verkirk. And I think there was even a couple more. And then I know the finals was Gage and Felix Morin. And Gage won the event. But yeah, I'm hoping we get a few more signed up here. We'll see what happens throughout the week and try to push it. Talk to Daniel and see if they can push. I don't think any of the provinces have the junior numbers that we have, and I think Alberta is probably the second. They're running some good junior stuff out there.
Yeah.
They're running small junior events with 6-8 kids at their regionals to get more kids out. They're running free junior nights and stuff like that. So they're definitely working on getting more kids in the game. Ludovic, he can beat any adult, right?
But he's good. He's good.
Yeah. And Nick was at my regional on Saturday. He had to play Dan Guittard and then James Finley. He went 0-2, but he played open singles, and I mean, he had a great game against Dan, and James was coming off a loss when he met him, and James kind of ran through him pretty quick, played really well, and just kind of got that victory and moved on. But I mean, Nick played great all day.
Yeah, I got to see Nick play a little bit at the provincial there, so he can definitely throw some bags. And like we said, with a smaller grouping, that 6 to 12 range probably is where that junior event probably falls. I mean, if you can have a couple good hours throwing some bags or getting in a nice groove, really anybody has a chance to win that event.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the next, we'll move into the women's. I guess I didn't really notice any. I was asking around some of my friends from cornhole in Quebec, just who they kind of thought the best female players in Quebec are, because we don't see a whole lot of women traveling to the other opens from Quebec. I mean, obviously some, but not a ton. And pretty much it was unanimous. We had Bouffard and Bouchard. Those were the two best players, and neither of them are signed up. And what is it? Sophie Bouchard from Saguin. I think she's from Saguenay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
With Guillaume and Carl. And I talked to Carl, and she's not coming. So I'm not sure about Bouffard, Cynthia Bouffard. She might, I mean, maybe be a late minute registration. She's from Sherbrooke. And every single Quebecer I asked put her as the number one female in Quebec. So I was hoping to see her out there and see how she'd stack up against some of our women here in Ontario, but I don't see her name on there yet.
Still time. I mean, like we said earlier, the numbers are still changing. People are still signing up. Anyone can still maybe decide to go if they haven't decided yet. So, you probably see a few more women added to that list before the event gets underway, I imagine.
Yeah, well, Demi wasn't on the list either, and me posting it made her remember to register. Hopefully, it also reminded her to register for the rest of the events, because I didn't see her name on any of the registrations.
Perfect.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I'm gonna go with the usual suspects.
I only have two.
But I have a dark horse. I just feel, so I'm gonna go with Lana and Crystal.
Yep.
And I think Mitch is gonna have a good event. I think she's gonna go on a run. I have her as my dark horse for women's singles.
The first two you mentioned, Lana and Crystal, I think at this point it's just well established. I think they're probably two of the best players going.
Period. So it'd be actually ridiculous to even bet against them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to see them this weekend. They're coming down to play our regional here this weekend, so I'll see them.
And Stephen Gray, I know that he's in New Mexico.
Yeah. We don't have no American players. No American players this time.
Okay.
Last time we were chock full, so not this time. None, maybe because of the open there. But those two for sure. I don't know how you bet against them at this point.
No, you can't.
Until someone proves me wrong, that's who I'm going with.
Yeah. Well, they win every event. I mean, they win every women's event. Crystal, who won at provincials?
Crystal. She double dipped Jen Baker.
Oh, Jen Baker. Yeah.
And then Lana won
open singles
by beating Brandon.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, you can't bet against him. But I'm going to take Mitch as my dark horse.
If I throw a dart, I'm going to go.
Yeah, throw one out there.
With my pal Dawn.
There you go.
Dawn.
She definitely has the capabilities.
She's
won women's at an open.
Yeah, she plays. She's laid back when she plays. She has fun. I think for her, it's just whether the bags are going in that day or not. The attitude doesn't change. She's always out having fun. So if I go outside of those two, I'm going to go with Dawn.
Yeah, no, Dawn could definitely go for a run. All right, who you taking in seniors?
I mean, it's hard to bet against Bobby. Seen Bobby Speary on the list. I think it's hard to bet against him. He's such a proven track record here in Canada at the Opens.
Yeah.
Him and Scooter, but it's Friday event. Before nothing gets crazy, I'm feeling like maybe Uncle Steve.
You know what? I have him right here, Uncle Steve.
Uncle Steve might be banging out some damage Friday afternoon there.
Yeah.
So he looks like he's been playing well. Numbers good for him. He has a good run in seniors all the time. Just kind of feel like just doesn't ever get over the hump with some of those other guys we already mentioned. Paul Vanendam being another one in that grouping, I think is really strong. Scooter, yeah. But I'm feeling Uncle Steve getting it done this weekend or next weekend. Sorry.
Yeah, I have Uncle Steve as well. I'm also gonna go with Rob Ayers. I know Rob.
Yeah.
Rob feels like he's been struggling, maybe with the mental side of cornhole. Not having as much fun as he once did. I feel like he's gonna break through that this weekend, and this is gonna be his weekend. I've got a good feeling about it. I think he'll have a good run in seniors. I think him and Craig will have a good run in pro doubles as well. But that's who I think we could see a bit of a surprise there with Rob on top.
All right, I like it.
All right, we'll move into men's singles now. We got an American stud up there with Frank Verona. Be hard to bet against him, but we also have all of our top pros.
I don't have this list, but I didn't know Frank was on the way, so
I forgot to send that one to you. So, I mean, I will quickly one second here. There we are. Yeah, so I just got this list today, and I forgot.
So it runs at the same time as seniors, right? So any of the seniors guys can't play men's singles.
That's right. We got Geoff Colbert, Frank Verona, Austin Lemieux, Brandon Brown, Chris Shire, Samuel Bebo, Jeremy Cooper, another American, Derek Barrett, Steve McIntyre, William Bouchard, Peter Gunn, Dion Kuza, Will T2, Craig Halford.
So we got a good mix of high-end Canadian pros in that list.
Yes.
But we also have Frank Verona.
Yes.
It'd be hard pressed to bet against him. I think, Dion Kuza is just so consistent. We got T2 and Bebo in there. Craig Halford can go off. It's going to be a good event. It's going to be a good event to, if you're there and you just want to watch some games before you get into action, that men's singles may be a great place to spend some time watching some games because you're going to see some good ones there.
It's pretty much like a Cooper singles event.
Is Cooper with Verona? Is that a doubles team?
No, Jeremy Cooper's playing with somebody else. No, I'm not sure who Frank's partner is because I got the doubles list before Frank signed up.
Frank signed up.
Yeah, so I got
Cooper
list.
Is Cooper with Dip?
No.
No.
I think Dip is with a buddy of his. And it wasn't another pro. I mean, the guy.
I just see a lot of their stuff because I see Tornado stuff all the time, and I end up watching a bunch. And those guys are all that Ariel Navarro, Dip, Odette, Frankie Verona's up there. Sometimes Trzynski, and I think it's Trzynski's dad, and those guys are up there. So I see that grouping. A lot of live streams from that area, so I'm just trying to piece together maybe who they're playing. We could see Verona playing with Batutsky or something like that too.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly. And just Nick hasn't signed up yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'll.
Is it time for Brandon Brown to? Is Brandon Brown going to check in here?
Brandon is going to win pro singles. I have him. My ACL predictions. They'll come out next week. I picked him again for pro singles. Brandon is due for a win. I don't think he's ever not won for this long, and I don't think he's going to let it happen again. I really don't. I just think he's going to buckle down and get her done.
I could see him having a better shot at this singles event than I think in pro singles. That's just my gut.
I kind
Yeah.
of went outside the box for my top. Well, I mean, not really. My top three, I mean, and this is in no specific order. I'm just gonna say my top three is gonna be Frank Verona, but I'm taking Geoff Culbert, who's been absolute
Been playing really good. Yep.
fire lately,
Yep. Yep.
and Derek Barrett, who always does well on the Friday events. Always, he did well in Calgary in men's singles. Then in Niagara Falls, he made Team Canada on Friday. I just think that Derek will have a really good Friday. He could very well take this event down.
Yeah, like I said, I think we're along the same page there. I think this one, if I'm picking Brandon Brown to win some, I'm gonna pick him to win this. I think Frankie Verona's up there, Brandon, and I just have a really hard time betting against Dion Kuza at any
Yeah.
point in time in any game. So if I go top three, those would be mine: Verona, Brown, and Kuza. But Culbert's a really good one. Culbert's been playing really, really well.
Really
Derek
good.
has been good on Fridays. I don't know what happened Saturday and Sunday, Derek. What's going on there? But hey, we'll give you Fridays good enough sometimes.
That's right.
But no, there's a lot of good shooters in there, and that tournament, that men's bracket there, it could spin any which way.
Yeah, it's almost like another pro singles, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very high quality. And like Bebo, T2, we didn't even mention those guys. So they've been the best. They've been the best pros so far this season. So
yeah, 100%.
maybe it's one of them in their home province.
Yeah, yeah. So Navarro's playing with Braden Lockwood,
Okay.
and Jeremy is playing with. Bum, bum, bum. I don't see him here right now. I'm assuming where's Jeremy from? Upstate New York?
I want to say yes. I could be wrong, but I do want to say that a New York guy, but
yeah, throws
not
cats.
100% sure. I remember talking to Nick, and Nick saying it wasn't like that far for them. He's a New York guy too.
Yeah, and even who did we have out there last year? Well,
Brady.
Jay Nellis was out there last year, but yeah,
Brady. Yeah, Ellis drove up with Shimmerhorn and
yeah.
Brown and Gray. We had
Chris Fisher. Jeremy Cooper is playing with Chris Fisher.
Okay. We had Reynolds and Humans.
Yeah, we did. Samantha Finley.
Matot.
Yeah.
What else we have up there? Brady Foster. I think Brady played with Matot. I think.
Oh, Mike Ferreira was up there.
Was he? Yeah. Oh, he played with Sam.
Yeah.
Right? Played with Sam Finley. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a few. This year looks like there's a little bit less, but Verona and Navarro dip.
I could see that.
I think you're going to see a couple more.
Yeah, no, me too. It's like that same group of friends, and they're like, "Let's go to Canada this weekend," and they all sign up and come up here.
Yeah,
seems like that's happened every time.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm sure there'll be a car full of them somewhere.
Yeah. Next, we got the pro qualifiers. So all these events, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these events start at 11. So you can only pick one, right? And I mean, at the end of the day, if you can't play, senior, if you're gonna pick and you want to try to make the pro field, I mean, the qualifier is the one to pick. There's no extra points for seniors or junior or women this year. So if you want to have a crack at it, but so I was talking to Matt where he's going to take the top 6 qualifiers.
I got 6 on my list.
All right, let's hear him.
No, you go first.
Okay. I'm going to go with 2 Ontario boys, Kaya Lynn and Chris Stewart. I think Chris has been close a couple of times. Another member of the Cannington Cartel, Jeff Desjardins and Chris Shire both qualified at this event last season.
Yep.
I could see Chris getting in. I mean, I'm not going to bet against Simone Dallaire. Obviously, I think he's as much of a shoo-in as you can get. Francis Mantha is another one. I never do this, but I'm going to pick myself. I feel really confident going into the weekend, so I'm gonna get in there too. And the other spot I am going to give to Steve Chaput. So Steve, Sylvain.
Is that who I played with in Niagara?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or did I give
Okay.
out 7 spots? Anyhow, so maybe Steve's not in. Maybe it's me that gets that 6th spot. Anyhow, there we go.
My 6. We got a few the same.
Okay.
Simone Dallaire. I think any point in time now, this is a given. At this point in time, with his results, this is a given. I got Mantha. I believe it's Mantha's partner, J.S. Lucier.
Yes. Jean-Sébastien Lucier.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
Ouellette's partner.
Ouellette's partner. Okay. I got him in there.
Yeah.
I got Kai Allen. I think that one opened up some eyes for sure at the recent provincial.
Oh, yes.
I got my buddy from Newfoundland in there, Daryl Parsons.
Oh, Daryl Parsons. Yes.
Okay. He's had a couple cracks at getting in.
Yeah.
Had a really good run in at nationals last year too, and almost became a pro.
Yeah.
And then I'll even show you this.
Yeah.
Just so it's legit. That bottom name there.
Yeah.
I got Geoff Waterman.
There we go.
You've been playing good. You played really good at.
People are talking.
Oh, shit. You played good at the provincial though, in the men's singles. Had a really good run.
Yeah.
I think it's clear to see that you know getting in that pro division is something that you want, and you're putting in the work. So give you credit one time, and this is going to be it.
Yeah,
so I'll give it to you here, and
that's all I need.
but yeah, no, you've been playing good. That field it's a good field. I mean, we could have named 5 or 6 more players for sure, probably off that list. But
I mean, really, it's anyone's ball game, right?
Yeah. One good game, one bad game. You never know what happens. Stick with it, and
that's the thing. I mean, and it's so important, but it is important to stick with it. It's important to not throw bags away. It's going to come down to plus minus for that last spot. 100% it will. I mean, in a field that size, the 5th and 6th spots will probably be 4 and 2s.
Yep.
With high plus minuses.
Yep.
So you don't want to be throwing bags away for no reason. In Calgary, I was 1 point away from being in both, right? I mean, we've talked about this. That's just one bag on the board, and I would have played pro singles as well. And I started out 0-2, and I had to grind back and get some big wins to get that plus minus back up.
Right.
So it's definitely don't get down on yourselves. If this is your first time competing in this event, you're listening to this. If you get 1 or 2 early losses, don't get down on yourself. It's possible to come back and still have a crack at it. Don't throw the bags away.
Yeah, like you said, a 4 and 2 could easily slide into this field. Yeah. With taking 6 and
it will.
The qualifying field isn't as big as it had been in some of the previous opens.
That's right.
Right now, anyway, at this point as we're talking here.
Yeah.
But 4 and 2 could backdoor in, and you never know. Like you could be sitting at 1 and 2 plus 4, and you could pop off a couple big wins, and all of a sudden you're 3 and 2 plus 40.
That's right.
Right. So it doesn't take much to turn it around. Like some of the times it can be really quick, but stay in the games. And just like you're saying, you missed out qualifying by 1. I always use the example of us. One time we threw a bag on the floor at the end of the game, and we ended up going in tier 2 and open doubles because we threw the bag on the floor. We boarded it. We're in tier 1. So
yeah,
every bag's important. So
every bag's important.
Do your best and understand the situations, and just play the game.
Yeah. No, I think Friday should be a lot of fun. We have that, and then we have the old ACL swap, which we always have on Fridays at our opens, which is a fun event. You get to play with players you've never played before, and then straight into the pro team. So jam-packed on Friday, and that'll move us into Saturday, which is doubles Saturday. Do you have a chance to look at the doubles list?
I looked a little bit through it. I think for the most part, we're going to probably be speaking about, for the tier 1, the overall championship of doubles, it's going to be a lot of the same teams that we've we've talked about before at some of the opens. You got your Sanchi and Peter Gunn,
Yeah, I have them.
um, Brandon and Dion,
Yeah.
Bebo and T2. The usual teams at the
Yeah.
top. It'll be interesting field. It's not right now. It's not as big as it was last year. So sometimes I find in the events that are not as big, you can see some teams really come through and surprise some people. So hopefully that's something that we see at this event, and have some new players that we're talking about once we go over the results.
I really do think we're gonna get past that 110 even higher team mark. I mean, we're already at over 90. When I say that list, we were at 86. We're over 90 now,
Right.
and we were at 73 2 days before I got that list. It
Yeah.
just seems that there's a lot of teams waiting last minute. I bet you we get up to that 110 plus mark, probably no problem. Honestly, it just seems that that's the way it's trending.
Right.
And
Who
I had
stuck
all those
out?
teams
Who
too.
stuck out on your doubles? Same thing.
I mean, yeah, but I really think Geoff Culbert's playing with Bobby Speary. I think they have a chance to make a
Yeah,
huge
I seen
run.
that one. Yeah.
I think that Simon Delaire and Julien Deberge have a good shot. I had Champion Mantha. We'll see how Champy's playing that day. Champy can play real good too. Same with Francis. I think they got a good shot. And Ouellette and Lucier. I mean, and I had Dion and Brandon, Tim and Peter. I had Derek and Andrew as well. I mean, a lot
Derek
of
and
the
Andrew.
yeah, I had a lot of the.
I hope Derek's still watching. This is all pointless.
I don't know. He hasn't commented for a while. Maybe someone will send him back.
Yeah.
But I had I a lot of times these pro teams will kind of split up for open doubles, and it seems like this time they all stuck together.
Stuck together. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, even Geoff Culbert, because Brett Davies not going to this event, so Jeff's playing with Matt Mearns in pro doubles, but then he got Bobby for this. But yeah, they just all stuck together. I mean, there's obviously a few, like you and Corey always played like both together, right?
Yep. Yep.
Carl and Guillaume, they always played together. But a lot of the other ones would mix things up. Like Brandon played with Frank in Newfoundland. He played with Carl last year here in Quebec in the open doubles. I like it. I like it because they're going to play doubles on Saturday with their partner, and then they're going to roll into pro doubles on Sunday morning, already having a full day of playing with each other. I think it's going to create stronger games on Sunday morning for those teams.
I do too, and that's something that like last year we talked about, like playing with Corey both ways, was that we gives you a chance to understand bags and board speeds and all those conditions that can change and vary in a big event. Like sometimes you might play in the morning and it's slow, and then it speeds up, and then it's slow. And it's very easy if you have experience playing with someone to make a suggestion on changing bags or inside outside arm or those sort of things. So I think the teams that do play both events might have an advantage. At least that's the way I feel. Maybe that's not the case, and maybe that's not what we see in the results. But that's just a personal feeling of mine. How I feel. I'd rather play with the player in both events.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I feel the same.
yeah. So like this year I just bounced around and I haven't played with anybody consistently, but I feel like for the most part, if you can get that partner and you get them in both events, it gives you two cracks at it. And if you failed in the first one, you know the adjustments you need to make coming into that second event into pro singles Sunday morning,
That's
pro
right.
doubles Sunday morning.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I'm expecting big things from Dion and Brandon this weekend. I think Dion's been playing great in Newfoundland. I think Brandon's been really busy with work. I haven't seen him really at too many events, And I mean that is the reality of being a pro cornhole player, right? I mean, sometimes work stops you from traveling to regionals and that sort of thing. If you only get so much time off, or if you have other obligations outside of cornhole, you have to something has to give, right?
Yeah.
I can see them having a good weekend, and I can see a lot of French players having a good weekend. They are on home turf. I have good feelings about Carl Menard this weekend. I think he's going to have a big weekend. I think
It's,
Brandon's going to have a big weekend.
I think with any sport, there's some places you just feel more comfortable playing than others, like not having to travel for some of the Quebec guys. Maybe they feel more comfortable playing,
Mm-hmm.
their language there instead of, predominantly English speaking everywhere else or whatever you call Newfoundland. I don't know what you call that, but um, like wherever you feel comfortable. I can tell you firsthand, I've never really felt comfortable playing at the Remax Center in Newfoundland. And
Right.
we've played there 2 times. I don't know what it is about that building. I just never feel super confident or, like I just don't feel good when I play there. Um, I could go to the building in Niagara Falls and play all day long. I don't know if it's because it's 2 hours from my house, but
Yeah.
I normally feel confident and feel like I'm going to play well every time I go there. So it's interesting. This is the second time coming back to that
Mm-hmm.
Drummondville building. Like, one person we didn't mention was Halford and Ayers
Yeah.
in doubles. Halford was a winner in pro singles. He's
That's
got
right.
maybe he's feeling really good going into that building
Yeah.
again this season. So it would be interesting to see. I'll be watching along here and see who comes out on top.
And what a you just saying that reminded me of that finals game, because what was Will up 18-0, I think, when Craig started his comeback.
Yeah, something
I
like
mean,
that for sure.
Greg, I don't think Craig missed one airmail after he was down 18-0. It was an incredible match, and the French crowd around the main court for that match on Saturday
Hmm.
night was, I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. I didn't stick around to see the finals of that, but I remember seeing the finals of doubles. I think it Humans and Reynolds at one, right? Or do I have that wrong?
No, you have that wrong. I don't think it was them. I think
Maybe it was. Maybe I'm
I
thinking
forget
singles.
about open double. I forget what happened. Open doubles. I don't remember. I remember watching Jude and Lincoln. They played together at this event last year, and
Yeah,
they
I just remember watching Reynolds and Humans play, and there was just
yeah.
like that crowd was definitely different than what we'd see normally.
Oh yeah.
Um, it seemed like more people stuck around and were cheering on the games. Maybe it was earlier in the doubles bracket, or maybe getting near the end of it. But
And we had the two broadcast courts last year too, right?
yeah, yeah,
Daniel set up his for court two. I haven't spoken to Daniel, but I would assume that's happening again.
yeah. Because we had Biggie and Asher.
Yes,
We were
they went
cheering those
on a
guys on
run.
because
Yeah,
they went on a run in tier one there.
yeah,
So
they
we
did.
were watching some of those games.
Yeah, yeah, over on court two, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Who
yeah, it
did
was
they
good.
finally lose to? Do you remember? A couple of Americans, I think.
I know they lost to Frera and Finley. I can't remember who their second loss was. That was their first one. Can't remember who their second loss was against.
Yeah, I remember we were
But yeah, they
watching
had a
court
great
two.
run. So I was around that doubles, and I just remember looking around saying, "Yeah, we got like 50 people watching on this court, and the other court's full of people too." And it was a good atmosphere to play in.
Yeah, I think we went and grabbed some wings after Biggs got knocked
Oh
out.
yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
good.
Okay, yeah, that's a good spot too. That was a good spot.
Yeah, so come on back. You know what? There's still spots open. I can find you a
Yeah,
partner short
yeah, I'm sure
notice.
you could. Yeah, sure you could.
Oh, Derek is not as scared of any James, Finley, or Forbes. He just said.
Perfect.
Well, you don't have to be scared of James Forbes this event because he's not going.
Yeah, maybe Newfoundland. We'll
Is
see.
this going to be the first Open you've missed?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're going to have crazy FOMO.
nah, I'm not. I can't throw.
Yeah, we're just gonna miss being there.
I wish, like, I might record my league games next Wednesday, and you guys can all watch when I'm throwing fours. Like, I can't. It's just not working here. So
Yeah, we're missing. I think we're missing 6. We're missing 5. Well, I mean, technically 6 pros for this event, right? We've got Mason, you, Brett, Chris Tremblay, Brian Conway, and Corey. So yeah, 6. So we're down to
and Brett, did you say Brett Davies?
Brett Davey. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we have it'll be 36 plus 6, so we'll be at 42. That's good.
42. Yeah.
So I guess the last one we'll do is open singles, and I mean, really, it's a lot of the same. Now that we know we got Frank, we got Navarro Dip. I mean,
I'm taking Navarro Dip.
yeah, you think he's gonna do it?
I like his game.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I like to see maybe Carl or Gilliam make a run here.
Yeah,
In their home province. Again, it's kind of weird not seeing the usual winners of Brandon Brown and Dion, but at some point, you know, maybe if they don't do it this weekend, maybe we ask, are they even going to do it this year?
I mean, the question's gonna have to be asked.
Right. So be interesting to see how it all plays out. But
And it's not like Brandon's having a bad season. He's right
no,
now
it's
he's
just
third.
not winning.
That's right. He's third
Like,
overall, and to us, for him, that's a bad season because we're not used to seeing that.
he just doesn't. I'm not saying he's having a bad season. I'm saying he
No,
just doesn't have that win yet, right?
yeah,
Like that's all. Maybe this is his weekend. Maybe it's Dion's weekend, or you know, one of the other guys. Maybe it's Craig Holford, or one of the BC boys, and Dustin. You know,
yeah.
maybe one of those guys.
Dustin's been playing great. I saw him. He posted some of his recent stats from league nights, and he's thrown in the 9s pretty consistently over the last 30 days. So he's playing pretty well.
But yeah, it's that time of the season where things really start to change, and you know, you kind of don't really have any more freebies on the pro end of it. Like you need to. This is your last pro event to get your 3 in, and you know, are you looking for an upgrade, or are you looking for, man, I need a big result here to requalify? There's, you know, this is when it really starts to kick in for the pro stuff, even for the guys in the qualifying. You know, you can qualify and get into the pro program by being one of the top 2 elites. So, you
Yeah.
know, Belair's kind of banged out a spot there, but you know, for someone else, you know, is this the time they make their move and get their second one in and with a good result?
Well, here's another guy that's not on any of our lists because I didn't see him signed up. I'd be surprised if he wasn't there. It's Greg Phillips.
Yeah, Greg's a cool dude. I like every time I see Greg. I like him. We kept trying to say we were going to play, and then it just hasn't worked out yet. But Greg Phillips has had great results every time he's shown up to an open.
I mean,
He
I would
qualified
imagine
last
he's
year in
playing.
Quebec.
He qualified so far.
He beat me.
Right. Yeah, and he qualified in Calgary this year and Newfoundland. Him and Simon right now are 1-2 in their pro spots. Right. If they had their
Yep.
if they both qualified this weekend, that would give them 3. And there's not a chance to qualify. Oh, yeah, there is for nationals. Anyhow, it would probably secure them their pro cards for next season. But
Especially with
Greg
Dallaire has a win, right? Like,
oh yeah, yeah.
So, and we've seen that last year with Tremblay getting the win with Carl in doubles of the one event. So
and he had a second place in singles as
in
well.
singles, yeah. So getting you know, Dallaire's kind of, I think he's kind of, you know, he gets in this time, he's probably nailed his spot. But that second one, yeah, Greg Phillips, yeah, you know, he's put hard work in, and he showed up to the opens. He did well in Calgary, and then you know, he got back in with in Niagara, and if he can get back in, he's close to him. I'm assuming Greg will be there. So
yeah, I'm assuming he's going to be there too.
Maybe just not signed up yet. Maybe that's where I find my partner.
Well, you are going to play.
No, I'm not going. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a bunch of guys. Like I didn't see Ludovic signed up.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's playing. His dad, Simon. I really think we're probably missing 20 teams easily still.
Yeah. I think that was kind of the feeling last time in Quebec. There's a lot of people that signing up going into the days, even some people signing up at the event on the Friday and getting all their events labeled in then and stuff like that. So yeah, the numbers will probably still definitely go up. And I think when we were talking earlier, I think you're still going to see a few Americans, that Verona
Yeah,
pack that normally travels.
that's
I'm
right.
assuming that some of those guys are going to end up in a car and end up in Drummondville next weekend. So it'll be a good time. It'll be a good event. Lots of events to look forward to, and it's that time of the season where I think people are really starting to nail it out here, and it was getting on with their season and seeing what's going to happen here coming up.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Jude and I are leaving on Thursday morning.
Me too.
Yeah, you'll be here. Okay, so anyhow, here's my I got my top 5 from open singles.
Okay.
I didn't include any Americans, but I had Brandon, Carl, Simon, Lana, and I got a good feeling about my good friend Nyan. I think he's been playing really well lately. I think he's going to get over that hump in open singles and go on a bit of a run.
I think with open singles, a lot has to do with the seeding.
Yeah.
That seeding can come pretty heavy. Like we were just talking about how Brandon hadn't played a bunch of events yet.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon could be down in that bracket. Maybe someone you don't want to run into in the round of 32 or round of 16 or something like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think for the most part, when we're predicting these things, we're still kind of sticking heavily to the Canadian Pro field and open singles. We will have some American players in there, which is going to throw a curveball into some, but I think more than ever, the chance of Canadian players, we're not at the point where it's like as soon as Americans there, they're going to win. Da, da, da. I think we're at the point where some of these Canadian guys can knock some of these guys out, and that's already been proven this year.
Oh yeah, no, I think.
Well, I have to give credit to Derek. I mean, Derek beat Trey Birchfield.
Yeah, he did.
Man.
Yeah, it was pretty good. All right, man. Well, I'm not sure if we'll talk next week because you are not coming to Drummondville. But we'll see if we can figure something out. Maybe on the Thursday night once I get into town, or Friday morning from your from your forklift.
From my forklift, I'll go live.
Yeah, right on.
Pretend I'm taking a skid out back, and I'll just be hanging out.
I'll just be out back for a while.
Yeah. Whatever works.
Who are you playing with this weekend, Biggs?
Yeah, I feel bad for him too, but yeah, that's who I'm playing with.
Yeah, he didn't take my advice, which was don't play and rest.
Yeah, overrated.
Yeah, oh well. I might as well keep doing what I have been doing.
Yeah. We'll see what happens here.
Okay, man. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you guys.
Okay, see ya.